chapter 6 on posting. So we've learned how to record transactions in a combination journal, but a combination journal doesn't really tell us specifically what the account balance is in every account at any given time. To show specific account balances, we are going to post from a combination journal to general ledger accounts. This information is needed to prepare balance sheets at the end of the month. Okay, so just a reminder that assets are always going to be labeled and numbered in the 100s. Liabilities are going to be in the 200s. Capitals in the 300s, revenues in the 400s, and expenses are in the 500s. Always arrange things in alphabetical order. So if you have advertising expense and equipment repair expense, A comes before E, so you give it 5, 10, and 520. We always go by tens so that it gives you a spot. Say that later on in the month that you have to add in another expense, the car expense, you could stick it in the middle between 510 and 520 if you wanted to. In today's accounting with computers, however, it's easy to do that. Okay, so just a reminder that transferring, the word transferring means posting. The top picture here is an example of what a combination journal looks like. You've already dealt with that. The second diagram down here is called the general ledger. You think of a general ledger as a recipe card, and every account has its own recipe card. So every time if we were to call this line rent expense, every time we did a transaction with rent expense, we would record it. And every time we recorded it, we would be coming up with a new balance in that account. So that at any time you could look, if you needed to know on the 15th of January what you had in the rent expense account, you could go right to this general ledger and it would show you. Okay, so now posting means to transfer. So we've already learned how to do the combination journal, so that's on the top. And the post reference column, as we know right now, is blank. So we want to transfer it in to the ledger at the bottom. And when you do that, it's called posting. So Dixon Company here, we need to fill in the Dixon Company general ledger. So that's why it says Dixon Company here. We know that liabilities are in the 200s, so we just gave it the number 210. It says here July 1st balance. That means that at the beginning of the month you owed Dixon Company $350. So that's going to be a credit. This line here, the left-hand side is the transaction. The right-hand side is the balance. So what is left in the account after the transaction? So we're going to transfer this debit of 100 straight down. Okay, we're putting debit of 100. It's happening on the 1st. This C2 over here, that's coming from combination page 2. If you have a credit of 350 and you have a debit of 100, those are opposite, so you have to subtract them. The 350 is bigger than the 100, so that means the credit side is bigger. So if you go 350 minus 100, you transfer the balance of $250. What that means is after this transaction, you only owe Dixon Company $250. Then when you're done that, you have to fill in the post-reference column, the number 210, because you transferred that information to account general ledger 210. Separate amounts in a combination journal's general debit and credit amounts are posted individually. So totals of a combination journal's general amount columns are not posted. I'll go back a page here. When you're all done, you would have your single underline here to show that you had a total here for your debit, your credit. What that is telling you is that you don't have to do anything with those totals. Those totals don't go anywhere because you posted everything along the way individually. Now, however, when we get to the sales credit totals, the cash debit and the cash credit, you're not going to do those individually, you're only going to do the totals once. Because everything in the sales credit goes to the sales credit. Everything in the cash debit goes to the cash debit. And everything that goes to the cash credit goes there. So to save yourself some time and space, you can just do the totals. So because you don't have to do anything in the general debit or credit, you're going to put a check mark in parentheses. So you have your total there at the end. Sorry, this is getting kind of messy. You're going to put a check mark. Okay? Amounts in the sales credit and cash debit and credit columns are only posted at the end of the month to save you time, because there's a lot of action in those. So what you're going to do eventually is you're going to be putting account numbers at the bottom of these.